Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. There's that video that probably some of you have seen of that mall in Yorkdale, which is basically in Toronto. And it is full of people. And this came one day after our new and latest lockdown came into effect. Okay, so here's the thing, right? We say, oh, we want people to stay home and we need to get caseloads under control. But then they keep classes open and classes have not been scaled down because we didn't do the thing where we recognize, oh, you know what? We're probably going to be in this pandemic for a year. We have a ton of free real estate. Let's just kind of carve up classrooms and make it so that we're going to use this leased office space as, supplementary classrooms and prevent too much transmission and keep social distance between these kids. Nope, didn't do that. And then additionally, we're saying, oh, our teachers are understaffed. Yeah, because they have been chronically cutting funding and underfunding teachers in schools for years, if not decades now. So when teachers were asked to give above and beyond what they normally do, they made everything last minute, so teachers were rushing, and many other teachers were also sick or on their vacation time or got sick with the goddamn virus. And why is education suffering? Because you guys keep underfunding it. Then we still have the audacity to blame the feds, which again, just to be clear, Justin Trudeau and the feds absolutely deserve a good share of blame. But it's not really on them if they've gotten a lot of these vaccines to Ontario. And Ontario is sitting with over 1 million vaccines now, still not going into people's arms. So that's on the government of Ontario, which again brings us back to this whole lockdown and how apparently, we're supposed to be locked down, but people shouldn't go out unless they need to. But seating capacity for non-essential businesses, 25% capacity is what you're allowed. For essential businesses, 50% capacity, even though the numbers as they stand are higher than the peak at the first wave when we were all freaking out. Which brings us to that point, that we are now approaching the third wave, which is going to be the biggest and the deadliest of the waves. And it's coming at a time when people are already mentally exhausted from this pandemic. And the restrictions that the government is putting in place are laughable at best. This is going to be a deadly goddamn shit show. And I don't know what happens when we clear the other end of it. And again, we have to get this under control. So you want to get it under control, but you are not paying people to stay home. You are not capping the rising cost of living and preventing evictions from happening throughout the province. You are not making it so that people who might be at risk, and we're concerned about transmission between young people, especially these latest variants. Those are apparently very dangerous for young people. They end up in the ICU. Well, then maybe you should shut down more places and make sure that young people have their bills covered if you want them to stay in place. Because right now, so many people, young and old, are not getting the support they need to facilitate the supposed safety measures that the government is forcing on us and claiming to abide by. This is absolute ridiculous lunacy, and I am tired of it. We keep saying, we care about people. We want to do the right things. Then actually do the right things. It's less about just saying we're going to implement these measures. You have to follow it up with policy and action, including things that you may not like as a conservative government. But if a conservative government is supposed to operate off of common sense and facts, then they need to start doing a hell of a lot more. But of course, they aren't, because they're not interested in doing that. Because again, why are we in this position? Because we were told by lobbyists way back at the start of this pandemic, oh no, if we shut down the thing of the economy, we can't shut down the border, we can't shut down all these businesses. No, we must find a compromise, and a virus doesn't give a shit about compromise. It cares about spreading and infecting. That should have been our number one priority, is stopping that. And we didn't, because we decided that money was more important than the people who allow the economy to exist in the first goddamn place. This is just so infuriating. And it has been over a year, and our governments, both federal and provincial, have not done what needed to be done. And as we see with the egregious amount of people in the Yorkdale Mall, a lot of people just don't care. Either because they're fed up or they just never cared in the first place. Oh, I'm fine. This is acceptable risk, when really it is not. We are in the third wave, and it is going to make the first two look like a walk in the park. Your friends, your families are at risk, and we all need to do our part. And yet, unfortunately, the governments have refused to do theirs, because they felt at the end of the day that money was more important than your life and the lives of your friends and family. And so now we find ourselves here with a third or fourth lockdown that is laughable at best, because we're still trying to issue some kind of compromise when we should actually be redoubling our efforts in order to keep all of us from coast to coast safe. But instead, capitalism and profit is triumphing over people. And if that doesn't bother you today, then maybe you need to reevaluate how you view your leaders in your society. This is not okay, and it should not be acceptable. And yet we have these governments continuing and doing all these terrible and egregious things, and we're supposed to just sit here and accept it. And quite frankly, I can't. That's what's bothering me today.